Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money with your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 204 of Screw the Commute podcast. We got Greg Boudah here. This guy is a prolific marketer, and also he works in two countries. He's in Thailand right now, where I'm going to be talking to him, and he also has business in the U.S., and he makes really gorgeous, high-quality jewelry. So we'll introduce him to you in a moment. And hope you didn't miss episode 203. That's Margie Feldjun. She runs a service to book people on podcasts, and they went from one person to a 14-person business almost overnight. And she also rescues animals, which makes me love her even more. So make sure you go back and listen to that one. Quick announcement, our podcast app's in the App Store. You can do lots of cool stuff conveniently from your mobile device, and you can download from the App Store. Also, we have instructions on how to use all the fancy features on our website, screwthecommute.com/app. That's APP. Make sure you grab that. And also, while you're over there, leave a review and star rating for us. We'll appreciate it. Now, as a thank you for listening, we have a free ebook for you called How to Automate Your Business. And just one of the tips on this ebook has saved me over 7.5 million keystrokes, and it's allowed me to handle up to 150,000 subscribers and 40,000 customers without pulling my hair out. And we sell this book for $27, but it's yours free as my thanks for listening. And plus, there's another surprise white paper for you that some people are charging $4,000, $5,000, or $6,000 for the same info. So I'm going to surprise you with that one. But you can pick them both up at screwthecommute.com/automate free. Screwthecommute.com/automate free. Now, our sponsors, the Internet Marketing Training Center of Virginia. It's a distance learning school which teaches legitimate techniques to make a great living, either working for someone else or starting your own online business. And we got approved by the Department of Defense for a military spouse scholarship program. So if you know any military spouses that don't want to have to take crappy jobs every time they get moved to a different station, then let us know, because we can keep money coming in for them when they get these internet marketing skills. So check it all out at imtcva.org. And of course, everything we do will be in the show notes. This is episode 204. So you go to screwthecommute.com/204 and you'll see all Greg's stuff. And you can get links over to our military program and our school over there. So it would be imtcva.org/military if you want to go check out the scholarship program. And we do a lot of stuff, and we give an internal scholarship to all military, active duty veterans, first responders, and law enforcement, because we couldn't do the things we do if it wasn't for those people keeping us safe. So let's get to the main event. Greg Boudah's here. He says you pronounce it like the monk, is a veteran-loving, ginger beard farming, former U.S. Marine gone goldsmith. And he's laser-focused on elevating the type of jewelry products the military community are being offered. He owns a jewelry factory in Thailand and operates a design studio here in the United States. He's got a team of 30 highly skilled jewelers and military spouses, and the Jewelry Republic is where veterans buy jewelry. Greg, are you ready to screw the commute? You got a heck of a commute.
Yeah, that's a heck of a commute, and I'm so ready. I'm absolutely excited to be on the podcast. Thank you for having me. It's so cool.
Yeah, it was great to meet you at the Military Influencers Conference. Stephen Kuhn introduced us. Yeah, my girlfriend makes jewelry here in the States, and so I was really excited about what you're doing and the beautiful bracelets you had for everybody. I didn't get one, but other than that, my wrist is probably too fat for them. So tell everybody what you're doing, how you're in business in two countries, and then we'll take you back and see how you came up through the ranks.
Fantastic. So the Jewelry Republic is headquartered in Denver, and I manufacture and make certain products in the United States. That's super important to take away. Is some things are made there because it's the detail and how we need to make it, and other pieces I manufacture and produce in my factory in Thailand, where we have a whole lot more technology and capability, but the design work is done really, really well in the U.S. And so what we've got going on is a military focused team who really, through my experience as a military guy, I'm a former Marine, and the mill spouses who work for me, starting with my wife, and I've got a few other ones that are working for us, who help me make sure that the imagery and the designs and the layouts get out to our people that resonate. But more importantly, it's just not all military looking stuff. You're not going to get everything with an anchor on it for the Navy or a gun on it for the Marines or whatever. It's fine jewelry that you would see anywhere in the United States in a very high end mall or a very high end shop. What it is, it's just military people. We seem to always get like a lower end stuff, and I don't know how to make low end stuff, so I just figure, hey, let's produce this for our community because they deserve it. The journey that they've been on their whole life as a veteran and or as a military person, and now as a civilian, most likely. It's what we deserve, and I'm sort of appalled at what's being on offer to our military community.
Yeah,
And
so
that's
the only thing I saw was the bracelet when I met you, but what other
yeah.
things do you make?
Oh, great question. We make everything from men's cufflinks to women's pendants to necklaces to earrings to we do a ton of custom work. We have things for the entire body, and
Okay.
to a limitation, but it's so that's really what we focus on. We're a full factory, full service jeweler, um, and it's great. What about our community is somebody will see, one of our customers will see something, and the first thing they want to do is militarize it, which is great. And you know why? Because that guy in Kansas City who sees that item that we have, he says, "Oh man, I want my artillery unit logo on there," or I'm a comm guy, or I'm a whatever. I can do that because I will absolutely understand the importance of everything with regard to your logo, the military aspects of what we do. I understand all of that stuff. Where a civilian has no freaking clue. Full stop, period. They don't know what they're talking about. Now, for our wives, girlfriends, the women in our world, they do not typically want a rifle hanging off of their necklace. They don't want like a drill instructor hat necklace or anything. They don't want that stuff. We're cool with it, but my wife, I don't want her to be. She doesn't want to be. I don't know. It's up to her, but she simply doesn't want to be covered in the military logo stuff. I've got plenty of that for her. So it's fine jewelry. My factory, we have several types of customers, to include very high end American brands where I manufactured their jewelry as an OEM manufacturer. Like, so say you see a big brand, let's say on the red carpet at the Oscars,
Hmm.
some woman, Charlize Theron, she's going to say to the microphone, "Oh, this is made by XYZ company," because they're going to want to know. And I am the manufacturer who makes the jewelry for that type of that type
I
of
see.
customer, who then dresses up Charlize Theron on it, or Demi Moore, or Pink. Any one of those people, we make jewelry for companies that dress them.
Now,
So
did
my
they do the design or did you also do the design?
It's a collaboration because we've got several customers, big clients who are wholesale manufacturers from Europe to the United States to other parts of the world, Australia, New Zealand. And they sometimes they have a certain level of sophistication when it comes to their designs. It depends on who they are. And others talk to Emma, who's my wife, she's been with me since I was a Lance Corporal in the Marine Corps. She will guide them, coach them, and create for them. And then basically we'll say, "This is your new collection for the spring," and it could be rubies, diamonds, sapphires, whatever. And then we will pitch that to the brand, and then the brand will come back to us, and they will say, "We like this, and this." And then at that point, we go in and start doing minimum orders, and we make them do a certain amount of volume, but we give them a directive. Then we give them a wholesale rate because they're buying 10 or 20 or 100 units.
Right, right.
Where now the Jewelry Republic, I leverage the Jewelry Republic for our community. There's zero people in the middle. It's me, my company, and selling it to our people, our veteran community. So that all that middle road, all that left, all that lift, all of those little guys in the middle who make jewelry so damn expensive, I literally eliminate. eliminate. And that's where I can make this amazing jewelry for a value literally far cheaper than what you're going to buy, but it's made for the same levels of companies that are on the red carpet.
Wow. That's such a great thing. Where do you sell it retail to the military community?
We do veteran shows we're doing one on December 14th. I'll put that in the show notes. I'll send you the link.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing one on December 14th. We are an online jewelry store. I don't believe that I need a retail store with our community, because our community is moving around all the time.
Of course.
The PX, I have talked to the guys down in Texas for the Army exchanges and whatnot. They're not really open-minded right now to taking on a high-end brand. And that is a totally jacked up mindset. They literally have told me, we're not, our people aren't ready for fine jewelry. And I look at her and I go, no, that's totally wrong. They are. They're just going across the street off base and buying the jewelry from somebody else who could give two shits about a military community, period, where I absolutely care about our community and know our community. And so they basically don't, what's going to happen, I'm taking a very Gary Vee approach to this, is the Jewelry Republic will be so important to this community that the PX will come and contact me and say, we would like you in our store, because it is completely wrong that our people don't deserve high quality jewelry.
They deserve it more than the average person.
They're buying trinkets. I agree. They're buying trinkets, and it's not, and you will never buy a diamond from me that is low quality. It's beautiful quality. I just won't mark it up 500 times, period.
Mm-hmm. All right. So what if a civilian wanted to buy a gift for a military person?
Oh, that's great. We sell everybody, but we only specifically target to the military people. We have all kinds of civilians who see our product and buy it, because it's not all military specific. Like for the men's collection, we've got some very cool, just general skull rings and, aggressive looking, awesome stuff. And in the women's stuff, like a really cool bullhorn pendant or a pyramid necklace, or, a green sapphire snake ring that doesn't look like a snake. Got these cool little snake eyes. But it's the jewelry is for anybody. I just don't know how to talk to anybody. I don't know how to talk to Jane Smith from Venice Beach, who's been chilling her whole life. I know how to talk to Sergeant Johnson, who I've literally hiked the same goddamn hills as he have. I've stood the same watches that Jane Smith has on ship. I've done all of that. Therefore, I have a lot to connect with. And I don't know how to talk to the civilian community at all when it comes to selling them jewelry. I'm very comfortable often talking to sailors. The chief season just passed us in the Navy. All the chiefs got promoted. The new chiefs got promoted. And it's so much fun selling to military people, because you're like, come on, bro, just buy it. Don't be a dumbass. You're never going to see some shit like this again. And they're like, oh yeah, you're right. Thank you. Say that to a civilian, they melt down in front of you like, you're such a jerk. No, it's just how we are, and it's so much fun.
All right, so I want to get back to this just a little bit. If you said you customized it, if somebody told you a certain thing that they wanted, is that correct?
Yeah, it seems like almost exclusively we make custom jewelry almost all the time. Some of our products, when they look at it, they love it and they buy it. That happens all the time. But very often it is like they see the item and they want to put their logo on it.
Right.
Mostly the men.
But so it's a one-off. You can make one at a time if you had to, right?
Absolutely. So we'll do the design work with you. So basically, if you see an item and you want to, or you want to make something from scratch, you don't have to modify any item. You can just come to me and say, I want to make this. And what we'll do is I have a whole design team, and we do a 3D design. And then I will show you a very clear digital rendering that's a pretty darn close effect of what it will look like when it's done. And then I'll use my 3D printer, and I'll print it on my 3D printer, and then we'll cast it in 14 or 18 karat gold or platinum or silver if you need it mostly for the men is the silver stuff. But I cast it direct, and boom, boom, boom. I made you your custom item with maybe your military logo or your special service or whatever you did in the military. I will figure it out with you, and we'll talk on the phone. We'll get there, and you'll be super happy. We do it all the time.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
All the time.
And like I said, if it was a gift for a military person that someone wanted to customize without them knowing about it, you'd be a person to say, no, that's stupid. Don't do that. That's if if they came up with an idea that just doesn't make sense for that person's military career. So,
Absolutely, and that they don't know, right? And I'll help them hone in on that. I'll say what did they do, and let me show you what that logo looks like correctly.
there you
Because
go.
you do a logo wrong in the military, you upset people pretty quickly. And
Yeah. So, so tell us a little bit more about the business aspect of running a business in Thailand. How did that come about?
so it came about. I lost my job after I left. I got back from Iraq and I lost my job. I got back from a tour in Iraq in 2003, and I was working as a production manager for a jewelry company in Denver. And they went out of business almost. They went very they went nearly out of business, and I went out of business with them. I got basically fired with everybody else. And at that point, a company asked me to who they just built a factory in Thailand for their own operation, and they said, "Greg, we need you to come run it." And I was like, "Sure." Tom, I had no idea how to do that. I had no idea. But guess what? I was out of a job, and there was an opportunity staring me in the face.
Now, you were married at this time or not?
I was married. I'm married. I have a house. I had a mortgage. I had friends, and family. I had everything in Denver.
Wow.
I had the whole 9 yards. But you know what? When the door everything just changed overnight.
Right,
There was
right.
no 2-week notice. It was, we're shutting everybody down. I was like, oh man. So I lost the job, and we all got laid off, and then immediately an offer was given to me, and I had no idea how to do that, but I did say I could figure it out. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't say that at all. I said, sure, I can do that. And got in a plane basically, and I took over this jewelry manufacturing company for a very large American jewelry company.
So
It's
the
called
family's still
Shanko.
in Denver and the house and everything, and you just took off to Thailand. Is that the way?
Yeah,
it
and then shortly thereafter, my wife was with me in Bangkok. Like within several weeks, she quit her job as a human resources manager for a bank, and we put that house on the market for rent in Denver, and it has been rented since 2006.
Oh, okay. All right. So you didn't go down the tubes with a foreclosure or anything. That's good.
No, it was super quick. It was like
Mhm.
I got fired, bam, and I got a new job. But the new job was definitely a big decision. It was, and this is an important decision that I made that I see with our veteran community, because I pretty much only pay attention to the veteran community woes. I'm sure civilians have the same woes, but I focus on our woes.
Right.
And they lose their job, or they don't like their job, and often a lot of guys and girls or men and women are like, oh, but I don't want to move to the 3 towns over. But I'm like, well, you got to put food on your table, honey. I mean, that's what you got to do. And I wanted to continue to live that, lifestyle where I could put food on my table. So I took the job, and it was hard, Tom. It was very hard, tough on a family. And my wife and I were pretty tight, and very hard a first year living overseas. Doesn't matter if you're in Thailand, Costa Rica, Mexico, whatever, or maybe you move from Florida to Maine and start a whole new career across the country. Making a big move like that, heavy lift,
Right.
very, very heavy lift emotionally. So strong that we sought help. We got some counseling, and we got some new tools in order to say, okay, we got to figure this stuff out. So 12 months later go by, and we started figuring out how to navigate this town. And I'm running this new job, and then I'm taking on all these challenges, and so I ran this guy's company for several years. And while I'm running this guy's company, it's a privately owned company, and we had all these wholesalers around the world who kept on calling me because they were like, oh, this guy Greg, he really has his stuff together. Which is, I think, just the Marine Corps in me. They just look at me and my head's up, and I look, my shoulders are back, and I'm smiling. And I think that kind of like the laws of attraction kind of work that way. But the owners of the company were like, Greg, we do not want to take any outside business, just our company. So I was like, okay, I'm telling you, Tom, monthly, I was turning away $250,000 business, $10 million,
Oh my God.
$1 million business, $500,000, just turning away production from these wholesale brands across the world. And that's fine. So it took me, I'm a slow learner, so give me a break. I was like, my wife and I were like, God, babe, we should just start our own company and take these outside orders. So long story short, that's exactly what we did. I left that company after about 3-4 years. And then in 2011, I started a company called Spokes Jewelry Services. And Spokes Jewelry Services, I immediately went right after one client, and then another client, and then another client. then I completely screwed up the first one and then salvaged this other two. And that was in 2011. And this company, the Spoke Jewelry Services, does very well. It's if Spoke Jewelry is the core revenue for the whole entire thing, but that's what we do for a living. And we have a great little team, and it's a hell of it's a hell of a thing that we started. It's hard though.
But tell us more about actually starting a business in Thailand.
So Americans, we have a special thing called the Treaty of Amity between the United States and Thailand, where the United States, during the war in Vietnam, when America was over there fighting the war, we built a ton of things over here in Thailand. Thailand is a massive ally of the United States, a very, very important ally. We built all their runways. We put a ton of communications infrastructure here, everything in the support of two main things: keep us operational in Vietnam when we fought in the war in Vietnam, and to keep the country of Thailand out of the war during Vietnam, because it was all over the place, and we kind of kept everybody at bay. As in return, the government, the country of Thailand, allows only Americans to own their businesses outright. Big deal.
Oh,
if you're French, Spanish, English, whatever. My wife, she's Irish. If they wanted to start a company here in Thailand, it has to be 51% Thai majority owned. Very important little detail.
Yeah.
And where, let's say, if you're starting a research company, no big deal. You hire a lawyer and you make them your owner, or they make them the 51% thing. It's not a big deal. But for Americans, absolutely take full advantage. I took full advantage of that because my product is pretty walking out the doorable. So, you upset your 51% shareholder, he'll hold a quick meeting quietly, and next thing you know, put a lock on your door.
Yeah.
And it happens in this town. This town is kind of, gunslinging in many ways. They don't let now I can own my business, but I can't have a bank. I mean, I can have a bank for checking account, savings account, and payroll and stuff like that, but I cannot have lending facilities because foreigners were not allowed to own property unless even if you're married to a Thai woman, you have to, the Thai wife, she'll own the property. They don't sell land to foreigners. So therefore, if I wanted to get a loan from a bank, I don't have any real estate to be leveraged. So, that's sort of a tricky one. So running a very high-end jewelry manufacturing company, it is all about gold and it's all about cash. So the ways that I'm forced to do business by the government here, it's an advantage because I don't have any terms. I have zero debt. I have no credit. So I can go to the diamond trade. I can go to the gemstone trades and I buy everything in cash. I slide over $50,000 of cash across the table, and I get 1 kilo of pure gold.
Oh, wow.
And I'll turn that. But the hard part is, I turn that 1 kilo of pure. I do that that's like my kind of a dated. Every couple of weeks I'll buy it. But the hard part is that money comes right out of my checking account. And so imagine you take a big $50,000 nut out of your checking account. You need to turn that back into sales ASAP, because that pays the lights, it pays the payroll, that pays for the rental, that pays for the car, that pays everything. So who you choose to do business with is very important, so that they don't stiff you and not pay you. We have very good clients, so that works out. The types of investments that you make, the types of machinery that you make, the decisions that you make are very important, because if it slows down your ability to recover your accounts receivable or the money that customers owe you, it can really slow everything down your cash flow. So,
all right, so let me get this straight. So I remember I've been to Thailand twice, and it was always considered very safe. But I wasn't carrying gold, and is the 50 grand in cash, or can it be a check? I mean, it seems like
no, they don't do checks very well here. Business to business, they might, but that's all gone away. Now, when I started the company, we didn't even have online banking. So like I would need to get cash. So I wanted to be incognito. I would literally walk out of my factory in downtown Bangkok and get a motorcycle taxi guy.
Right.
Flag him down.
Not even a tuk-tuk, right?
No, God, no. They're too slow.
Yeah.
So I get in my little motorcycle taxi guy, and I would have him drive me to my bank, the Bangkok bank.
Yep.
And I would walk into the bank. I would write a check. It's very slow. Write a check, withdraw about $50,000 or 1.5 million baht worth of cash, which is the size of a toaster oven.
Yeah, right.
Put that in my backpack, and meanwhile, I've already shooed that guy off, the taxi guy.
Right.
I walk out of the bank, turn left, get another taxi guy. So I need to switch it up. So and now I've got this big giant toaster of cash in my backpack. And then I get in another taxi and I go to the gold company who sells me a kilo of gold. So the taxi guy drops me off about a half a block away. I walk in there with a big heavy backpack, walk out with a light backpack, except this big lump in the bottom and right dead in the middle of it. And then I get on another motorbike taxi with a kilo of pure gold, and I drive back to near my factory. Then I walk around and I snake back, and I did that all the time. And I had this little bottle of pepper spray because foreigners aren't allowed to own guns.
Right.
So
right.
I got this little bottle of pepper spray, which they openly sell here in the kind of like the military surplusy shops.
Yeah.
So this thing is sticking out of my backpack like a periscope all the time. And then one day, Tom, this is crazy. I'm reading the front page of the newspaper, having breakfast, and there's an article about the Thai hookers want the government to allow them to carry pepper spray. And I'm thinking, well, why wouldn't they carry pepper spray? So I read the article more. It's like a class 1 felony or class 1 or class 5, whatever that is, the worst class of felony to utilize and carry pepper spray.
Oh my God.
I'm like, I literally like took that shit, boom, right into the sewer, right in the moment. I was like, this is gone. Because you just want to, I'm not afraid to get stopped by a random cop and he looks at my pepper spray. It's if you happen to upset somebody. Maybe
Right.
you upset an employee. And this is an important thing for business, period. You upset an employee, you're a foreigner, or I'm in America all the time and I got employees there. And if you upset them, people can get a little weird and vindictive on you.
Yeah.
If you're doing something blatantly, openly wrong, I did not know that was a whatever high level class felony. I do not want to spend any time in the Bangkok Hilton. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
right.
really. And but they're selling it there
Hills,
in the stores.
Absolutely, right there. And who's in there? All the cops are going in there to buy their stuff. I even had a bulletproof vest for a while.
Yeah.
That my buddy, who's a contractor from Halliburton or something, he shows up and he gives me his bulletproof vest because he moved to Okinawa or something. And I'm like, oh, great. So I got this bulletproof vest with ballistic plates. And I read in the same article, can't have a bulletproof vest. I'm like, Jesus, man, I'm a walking felon.
Oh, man. Maybe you could get one of those. They have bulletproof clothing now, like a jacket, but it's probably too hot.
Yeah. So starting a business here is super tough. You have to it takes a lot of money and it took a lot of saving, right? So in order to you have to have a work permit. They have very good immigration. I think our country could probably learn a little bit about immigration from this particular country. I check into immigration every 90 days. I get a visa every 2 years. I physically have to go show my face, my 9-year-old's face, and my wife's face. And in order to get a work permit, number one, I have to hire a certain amount of Thai employees.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to segue one quick. People who think I'm outsourcing, I'm not outsourcing. I live here.
Right.
My wife is Irish. There's a lot of some guys, they get all head up like, oh, you're outsourcing American jewelry. I do employ Americans. I employ Thais. I employ one Irish woman, my wife. But this is just how I choose to live my life. I like being overseas. I love going back to the United States, and I spend my summers with my son at the Grand Canyon in Buena Vista, Colorado, riding horseback and shooting guns. I spent time in Ireland. When I became a Marine security guard, which is a job in the Marine Corps, we work different embassies around the world. I was like, oh, this is cool. So that's just how I've structured my life, by hook or by crook, when I got fired in Denver. But that's just kind of how it happened. And there's a difference between outsourcing and actually living here, owning your own business. It's a stark difference.
Yeah, that's for sure. And most people will say after the fact that getting fired or quitting is the best thing that ever happened to them.
1,000,000%. I was talking to some people recently, and they were talking about the fear of entrepreneurship. And I said, that's a valid fear, but just do it. Period. It's not like we're rolling in dough, like free available cash, or we have cash, but it's got to go to raw material. But as an entrepreneur, what you have is control of your fate in many, many ways. Versus an employee, 100%. As an employee, you're sort of at the beck and call of someone just saying, I made a bunch of bad decisions. The company's closed. It's a big deal. My heart skipped a beat when that happened to me. It was a big stressor. But
well, you are the first.
Mark time.
You are the first guy on here that's had backpacks full of gold as part of their business model.
We've evolved since then. Now they deliver it to me.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
So were you an entrepreneurial kid?
No, my quite horrible stepfather is a Navy lieutenant commander, retired type. and my mother was a teacher. So now we were all military family all the way.
When did you go in the
And
military?
I joined the Marines in '93 and got out in '04.
Okay, so you put some time in there. So what kind of tips would you have for people that are either thinking about starting a business or are in a business now and want to improve it?
Protect your capital. Don't go running out and buying a whole bunch of equipment that you can find a vendor locally to do for you. Let them do that part of the business. So protect your capital. I started this company with a whole bunch of cash, and I immediately blew 40% of it on 2 machines that I don't even use today. I didn't use then.
Oh, wow.
Big mistake. I survived. It almost really messed myself up, but I just, I didn't need it. Secondly, for those who, your second question again, Tom, was how to improve your business if you're already in
right,
business.
exactly.
Look, if you're local, let's say you're in Kansas City or Albuquerque, LA, or whatever. Link up with Bunker Labs. They're really, really good. They're at a huge added value. They will help you get your entrepreneur mindset in the right place with a lot of tools. But also visit your local chamber of commerce. You're going to rub elbows with people who are experienced business owners. You might be lucky enough to get a responsibility in the chamber of commerce, where maybe you're a secretary or they make you a treasurer. It's all volunteer time, but guess what? You're rubbing elbows with the guy who owns 4 car dealerships. You're rubbing elbows with the real estate mogul who's making $10 million a year. And you get to sit across with your little brand new small company. I don't care whatever you're doing. And maybe your revenue is $1,000 a month. But guess what? You're having lunch with the guy who's turning over, 7 digits. And you can say, how do I do this, man? After your relationship is tight, and he'll tell you, or she'll tell you. That is a real value. Get out of your little network and expand. The Chamber of Commerce is a big way to do it. Bunker Labs is another big way to do it.
That's great advice. Now we got to take a little sponsor break, and then when we come back, we're going to ask Greg, what's a typical day look like for him and how he stays motivated. So folks, I'm down on my hands and knees begging you to check out a webinar or pass it on to someone that could use it. It has to do with higher education. And if you're considering getting retrained because you hate what you're doing or you want a better life for yourself or your family, or maybe you have kids or nephews, nieces, or even neighbors who are wondering if they should burn up hundreds of thousands of dollars going to college or universities, and then they end up broke with mountains of debt and no marketable skills, well, you might just want to take a little time and watch this webinar. And be prepared to be mad when you're watching it, because the tuition rates are going up, and they're faking grade point averages. They're inflating them to make it look like the colleges are doing better, and the testing is showing that the kids are dumber. And they're only spending 8 hours a week total on preparing and going to class. I mean, I don't know if I'd want to mortgage my house for this to have them. The rest of the time was spent partying. These are all high-level education people with these statistics. This isn't just me hawking my school. But the rest of the time is partying and eating and shopping. So like I said, I don't know if I'd want to mortgage my house to pay for something like that and then compete for jobs at Starbucks. So check out the webinar or pass it on to someone that's thinking about what their future is going to be, and I think you'll really like it. You can check it out at screwthecommute.com and then click on webinars, and you'll be able to see it. And if you have any questions about our school, where you can get an education that's a marketable skill that every business on earth needs in a relatively fast period of time, cheap, well, you want to talk to me about imtcva.org. And if you're in the military, if you're law enforcement or first responders, we have a big scholarship for you just through our school. And then if you're a military spouse, the Department of Defense has another scholarship for you. So check it all out. This is episode 204, screwthecommute.com/204. And we'll also have links to all Greg's great stuff there. So let's get back to the main event. Greg, so what's a typical day look like for you?
So if I'm in the United States at the studio, what we're doing is we're creating.
And how often or how much time you spend in each place?
It depends on the it depends on the volume. Primarily, I'm here because this is where the bulk of our production comes from. Our if during our peak seasons, I get around just a bit more, but it really depends on the season. The jewelry business is quite seasonal. So we're often just, building and creating new designs so that they're, that I can get what I need out of the designs. And it's a very kind of a passionate and a personal thing. So you really got to get your head around what are we going to look at for the next season.
And now,
And
when you were saying seasonal, is it like Valentine's Day and Christmas, or what's the seasons for jewelry?
and then Mother's Day, absolutely.
Mother's Day.
Valentine's Day is like a 2-week blitz,
Mhm.
and it depends on the business. Like for the Jewelry Republic, it's a 2-week blitz of just finished product retail sales. For the factory, which we're making jewelry for the brands across the world, that is about a month long. It's all going to be done in a very short period of time because it's right after Christmas.
Right.
Like in December, I'm making jewelry for February.
Right.
It's sort of depressing actually until the invoices come in. Then you're like, okay, I'll take it. But in Thailand, the daily schedule, we're up and at 'em at 6 a.m, and I drop my son off, and my wife and I come to the factory and get it rocking and rolling. Do a quick basically a morning powwow, like you would do in the fleet. I run the business just like I would a platoon.
And how many people work in the factory?
25.
25. And is it the typical stuff like we have in the States with payroll taxes and stuff like that, or is it a whole different system?
No, totally the same. It's all based on, general accounting, GAAP, the typical way to do business.
Right.
Payroll taxes and salary, Social Security. I because of American, we do benefits for our employees because we run this place like an American business, and it takes our staff a little while to get their head around. And those who don't get their head around it, we get moved on. But I want to hear your opinion. If you want to try something differently, I want to hear you. I want you to come debate with me a little bit. And that's a cultural difference that we've harvested. Most of our employees have been with us for well over 5 years.
They mostly speak halfway decent English?
No, that's a problem. This country was never colonized. Something that could have propelled them much faster throughout the world would have been a bunch more English, where the countries around Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, Burma, they speak English, and you can see it in the last decade. They have really, really come up in the market. So we'll start our day here, get the ball rolling with the team, and then my wife is our designer, so she'll really start drawing and creating ideas and working with customers from East Coast to West Coast to different parts of the country, and she's our designer, so she'll be talking to the chief in Seattle who's a submariner, and he wants to make a submarine ring from his world. So Emma will start going back and forth and collaborating. I'm running the operations. I'm doing the 5-paragraph orders every day, getting everybody going, and the SMEACs, which is all military terms. And we get our ball rolling, and I'm making sure the inventory is in a good place. The flow is happening right. The HR stuff is handling correctly, and the targets are being met. We try to ship every Thursday and Friday. And there's a lot of production plans, and there's a lot of data and a lot of quality control to make sure everything gets hit on time, because we've got customers with different styles of everything from, things with feathers to things with diamonds, things with emeralds. It's all over the place.
What's the price? What's the retail price range run from this?
So for our clients, they're retail. We've got some that are retailing pieces in the 70s and 80s of thousands of dollars, and we've our bread and butter, they're retailing at 12, 15,000 is what they're retailing. I'm selling it to them for somewhere between $800 each unit to $2,000 per.
Right, but what about your retail
Hmm?
stuff for the military?
Oh, for the Jewelry Republic,
Yeah.
you're looking at, for the men, it's right around 325, 400, somewhere around there for these really cool men's collection. I kind of went vintage Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, vintage stuff, vintage tattoo style meshed with military. And for the women, probably around 600.
Okay, and what are
About the
those
price
bracelets that I saw over at in DC? So what would they go for?
Yeah. So those men's bead bracelets are these 8mm stone bracelets, and those retail for $95 on the website. They're not on the website right now, but they're $95 on the website, and they will be. I'm going to start direct emailing and doing some special offers. So you got to get over there and sign up, because if you get the email, you're going to get a discount code, and it is going to be a good one. It's a 14 karat gold logo, like Army, Air Force, Navy, or Marine Corps, something that represents your unit, your brand, or I'm sorry, your service.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just a really cool item, and people love them.
And they were
I can't-
adjustable, right? Weren't they? Or was
Yeah, we've got two. We've got a flexi elastic one that's got a double strand elastic, and then I've got a flexible one that's got a little macrame nylon rope, and we set a little black diamond in there, and it looks cool. They really
everybody
cool.
loved them. That's for sure.
They did.
So
I'm gonna have to get you one. I didn't.
No,
I know
I'm kidding. I'm
2 or 3 of them. No, Stephen Kuhn has an arm like a damn. Stephen Kuhn is a tanker. Did you know?
Yeah, I know.
His arm is like a barrel of a damn tank. So he put it on. I was like, dude, you gotta like get smaller. So I'll make him one. I'll make you one, and you should have one.
Well, thanks. So how do you stay motivated?
I love the challenges that blow up in my face like every day. I know they're headaches and they're problems, but I like to learn and deal with that. Mm-hmm. So that's one aspect. I do like a challenge. It's just where I come from as a kid, adversity, as a redhead, it seems like it always was in my face. So I guess that's just where I'm comfortable. I'm very active on the Veterinary Tribe. I love helping other veterans as much as I can. That's not what I do. I'm not a coach for a living, but when I see one of our guys or women struggling, I love to give them some real pro tips. I'm a real active business entrepreneur.
Right.
And here in Thailand, what I'm often doing is I am running. I'm actually on. Hopefully, if I'm lucky, in 2 weeks, I'm going to be on the board of directors for the American Chamber of Commerce here in Thailand, which is actually it's like the largest business network in this part of the world.
Right.
So I mean, if I'm lucky, I'll be rubbing elbows literally with the CFO of Chevron, with the CEO of Deloitte, who is big tax companies.
Right.
PricewaterhouseCoopers, Colgate. So I'll be in a boardroom of 12 of them every single week or every single month at 7:00 in the morning. But, and I get to observe how they make decisions and collaborate with these super high multinational corporations, and me, a little old Jewelry Republic guy. But that keeps me way motivated. And every month I do events for my local business community, whereby we help small to medium enterprises in town learn how to do digital marketing. I'm not the best digital marketer, but you know what? I know 10 companies who are digital marketers, and I'll get one of the CEOs to come talk to my community of 800 or 900 people to say, hey, try it this way. Or human resources or finance, or hell, we did one on Bitcoin that blew the doors off. I mean, we just do all these events, and I love doing that. I don't just sit around and chill out too much. Plus I've got an awesome son and an awesome wife, I have to say.
Well, you know what? I think that Deloitte needs some custom piece of jewelry to give out to all their executives around the world, don't you?
I agree. That's where you hit them up for like cufflinks and stuff. Yeah. Like, you guys need some cufflinks.
Yeah, come on, man.
$1,000 each? Come on. You got Deloitte.
Yeah, I spoke over there twice. I was brought in by the tourism department to help them with tourism. This was in the late 90s. But it's all internet stuff, how to help them, because they do have somewhat of a reputation,
Yeah.
And so
they do. You'd be surprised if you haven't been here since the 90s. It is first of all, Thailand's very, very advanced. We're on our way to our 5G network. There's travel, there's trains everywhere, elevated, air conditioned, beautiful trains. It's all of the American brands are here. And it's funny, the Thais have been getting. You in your mind, you think it's getting a little Asian, but no, they've been crushing the KFC. Then the KFC is adding inches to the belt lines, and Yum Brands is here, which is McDonald's, and like McDonald's and KFC and stuff like that. It's like a big deal, and they love it. Like whenever as a business owner, it's the easiest thing in the world when like staff get a little finicky, like they're stressed out because we're doing all kinds of overtime and stuff right now, or they're angry about whatever. It happens. The biggest silver bullet to all problems. Kentucky Fried Chicken. Bring in 2 boxes of the Colonel. I'm the man. It solves everything. And Church's Chicken just came out.
Oh.
I did a blind taste test because I told the guys, what do you want? You want KFC or you want? There's a name there's a little funny thing about Church's Chicken. I'll tell you at the end. But there is. They said, we can't eat Church's Chicken because it's too high end. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what are you talking about? It is not like high-end chicken. It's all the same chicken.
What is high-end chicken? That's what I want to know.
I don't know, but they actually don't call it Church's chicken. I just happen to know the master guy who owns the master franchise. But the Church's chicken here is called Texas chicken. So I did a competition between Texas chicken, which is Church's chicken, and Kentucky Fried Chicken, and you know what?
Who won?
Texas chicken smoked it.
Oh, no kidding.
I couldn't believe it. I don't know. I don't think I've ever had Church's chicken my whole life, but it was far superior than the damn KFC. I tell you what. And everybody was happy and skipping out the door, drinking Pepsi.
Oh,
so,
wow.
One thing I also really like to do is I just had a guy out here. He's still here, as a matter of fact. His name is Joel. He works for a company called International Franchise Marketing. So he helps franchises.
Oh, yeah, Joel. I've had him on the show.
He's awesome.
Yeah,
Joel. Yeah, you've had Joel on the show.
Yeah.
I just organized an event for him last night, and he pitched his American franchises to the Thai community. So I was able to help him organize. He doesn't know how to do that in this town. So I was able to help him out, set up a venue at a really nice university. We got a bunch of people, and it was super cool. And who knows? Maybe so. Joel has got these brands that are like this mid-level brand,
right?
And he can bring those out. And Joel, obviously do well, but this nice American brand can expand. And it's not about taking jobs overseas, for Christ's sake. It's about taking American morals and values overseas, because we run our companies a certain way. Asia doesn't. We do. We offer healthcare benefits and all that because why? We care about you a lot. And it takes time for the folks to get that around their head.
Yeah, they're definitely not.
I just want you to be healthy. Like, I had a pregnant girl I have one now. She's still pregnant. She works on one of my polishing machines. And the moment she comes to me and says, Mr. Greg, I'm pregnant. She's all sad. And I'm like, oh, man, congratulations. That's awesome. I mean, she's 40, so she's kind of on the bubble there.
Yeah.
But I'm like, we kind of had a laugh because I've known her for years. I'm like, man, I didn't see that one coming, did you? She's like, no, but I'm sad. And I was like, well, look, the first thing you're going to do, I'm yanking you off this machine because I don't want you working on this machine. And she was so upset. Like
you insulted her, or you're
and I
like
just said,
it's a
you're going
demotion.
from that room.
Right?
Exactly. You're just going from the polishing department, and I'll put you in a wax department where you're preparing waxes it's a part of the way that we make jewelry. It starts with the master mold. And wax. So it's a softer room. It's nice and easy. It's air con. It's not there's a 3 horsepower motor blowing in your face with polishing dust everywhere. I could not believe the blowback I got on that one. I had to have like special interventions and stuff for that. So they're not used to people giving a damn, and they think there's an ulterior motive.
Right,
I'm like, no,
exactly.
I just want your child not to be born with 2 eyeballs or 4 eyeballs. Or whatever.
Yeah, I remember what I really loved about it when I was there. I was brought in. One of the sponsors was Thai Air, and I got to fly a 747 simulator. And
nice.
And I went from London Heathrow to I went from Bangkok to London Heathrow in 7 minutes and crashed when I got there.
Wow, that's nice.
But I remember like a waiter was not somebody trying to be an actor. That was his profession, and he took. So that was his profession, and if he did something wrong, he was embarrassed about it. It wasn't he was just there to try to be an actor or something else. So. Another thing I loved was they still have the spirit houses around.
Oh yeah.
I love that.
Part of it's their religion is very, very key to them, and they get a huge laugh at me because my last name is Boudah.
Oh yeah.
And I'm definitely a skinny white boy. I'm not a round
right.
And they're like, your name is Boudah. I'm like, yeah. And they go, it's actually got it's got some luck to it. Their Asian culture is really big on luck, and I mean, it's kind of I'll leverage the hell out of it if it makes them happy. I mean, like, yeah, it's just lucky to work for me, please.
Yeah, I really loved the time over there. So, Greg, thanks so much. So, tell them how they find all your stuff, your websites, and how to get a hold of you and all that.
Great. Well, the website is thejewelryrepublic.com, thejewelryrepublic.com. I am on Instagram at The Jewelry Republic, and Facebook is The Jewelry Republic. So that's where you'll find me. I answer the emails, or Emma, my wife, answers the emails, just her and I. on that side of the business. And if you want to ask me a question, please send me your logo. If you're a military guy, send me your unit logo. The day you graduated your A school or boot camp or whatever you did, just tell me and I'll put it in there. It's usually like for a men's ring, it's like $500, but it's a custom one-off thing. And it's all about honoring your journey, Tom. And that's the thing. We have these amazing journeys in our career. We go from wherever we were born in the United States, then we go through this amazing whirlwind in the military, and then we get out, we become something different, but you never let it go. And well, actually the truth is after you get out of the military, you kind of go stick your head in the sand for a while. But then after a while, you become a veteran. You're like, wow, I really, really miss the camaraderie and the people. And I encourage you to honor your journey. And not with some junky little trinket. Buy a ring, make a ring. I'll make it for you. And you'll give it to your children. And guess what? You'll have that piece that stays in your family forever. Honor your journey.
And it probably appreciates, right? Or it's worth something 50 years from now.
It has value for sure. Actually,
Right.
real monetary value. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was so great finally getting a hold of you, and your story is going to be inspiring to people. I'm not sure they're going to run to Bangkok to start a business right off the bat until they figure out how to hide 50 grand in cash as they're riding around town on the back of a motorcycle. So great. And hopefully we'll get you some sales out of this. And thanks a lot, man.
Thank you very much. I mean, I really appreciate it.
All right. We'll catch you later, everybody. And let's see. Next episode is one of my Monday trainings. Episode 205 is going to be on e-courses. Every Monday, I do an in-depth training on something that's made me or saved me a lot of money. And on Wednesdays and Fridays, we interview great guys like Greg. So we'll catch everybody on the next episode. See you later.